Hi class, it's Dr. Shaw-Thornburg. I hope you are having a good week. What I want to do in this video is talk to you a little bit about your midterm feedback and also to give you some pointers for your annotated bibliography assignment that's coming up. First of all, I want to show you where you can find your midterm feedback. Go to Course Tools, Grades, and then you'll come to this feedback page. There are two columns here for you to pay attention to. There's a numerical grade here called Midpoint grade, and then there's a narrative comment called Course Midpoint Feedback. There's nothing here for me because I'm not a student, but when you go into grades, you should see a grade over here, and then if you go to Course Midpoint Feedback, there should be a more extended comment that basically gives you information on what's going well, as far as I can tell, and what you need a little bit more work on. In addition, there'll be either passing or not passing comment, just to give you a general sense of where you are in the course. If you are a dual enrolled student, I also have the grade I'm going to report out when it's time for that paperwork to be done. So please do take a look at that because it should give you a sense of where you are. Now obviously, we've only gotten in about a third of the assignments that you're going to do, so that grade will change. Remember, the midterm grade is just to give you an idea of how you're doing overall in the course. So that grade's not going to stick because there's a lot more work to be done in the course. After you have the chance to look at those items, I want you to engage in some reflection. This isn't anything you're going to turn into me, but reflection can really help you to look back at where you are and where you want to go. So think about, for example, how do you feel like the course is going for you overall? I want you to think about where you're excelling, and I want you to think about your goals for the remainder of the semester, and then think about what you need to do to meet those goals. So that's just going to help you figure out where you need to go, okay? So definitely engage in that reflection. You don't need to turn that into me, but it would be good to at least write it down for yourself, okay? The second thing I want to go over is MLA format. Chapter 28 of your book has a lot of good information. That's one of the reasons why I assigned it to you as we start completing those research assignments. One of the first things you want to do for the upcoming assignment and all your formal writing assignments is to make sure that you apply MLA style to your overall paper format. So if you go to page 603 in your book, it has an annotated example of what the paper should look like. For this particular assignment, what you want to pay attention to is the stuff at the top of the page. So for every assignment, you want to make sure you have those 1-inch margins. You want to make sure in the header space, you have those page numbers out to the right. And then in the left, you want to have your name up top, my name, Professor Thornburg, English 102, and then the date. Notice how it's day, month, year. And then centered immediately below that, you want to have the title. For major assignment 2, it'll just be major assignment 2, annotated bibliography, okay? Starting here is where it will look a little different. So let me show you a different resource for that. So this is also in Everyone's an Author on page 533. I encourage you to review that. It has all the necessary elements for an annotated bibliography entry. First of all, it's got that MLA formatted citation, and I'll talk to you a little bit more about what should be in that in just a second. So it's got the citation. Notice how this is aligned. So the very first line is flush with that left margin, and then you've got that tab 1/2-inch indent for every line after the first, and then you've got another little indent here. And this is exactly what individual entries should look like on your annotated bibliography. This is the kind of bibliography that you need to include. It should be an evaluative annotated bibliography. And what that means is you'll have a paragraph here where you describe the major ideas of the source. That should be a paragraph in length, maybe 5 to 6 sentences. And then for that second one, you want to do an evaluation of how credible the source is for your particular topic. So you might discuss things like, oh, this appears in a peer-reviewed article, and it directly addresses this concept that I want to cover in my infographic. Again, that'll just be a paragraph, okay? So that's what should be included in each entry for your annotated bibliography. So the citation in MLA format, and then those 2 paragraphs, okay? Okay, last. A lot of you are finding some really great resources, and it looks like most of you will be using scholarly articles from an electronic database. So I did want to talk to you a little bit about how you find the information that you need to do your citation. So this is an article that I found using EBSCOhost. And so important pieces of information here. Here's the name of the authors of that source that's listed under authors. There's the title of the source. Notice that right now it doesn't have that traditional capitalization, so you would need to go back and fix that. It has the list of the journal here, Healthcare for Women International, and you would need to go back and fix that and make sure it's in italics. Then you have the date of publication, the volume number, and the page numbers, and you would need all of that as well in your citation. The next piece of information you need would be the database where you found it. And so I found this in EBSCOhost. Another important piece of information that you will need is what's called the DOI, or the Digital Object Identifier. And this is usually what we use instead of a page number or URL. If that's not there, you can go ahead and use that. So those are the pieces of information that you would need to cite that journal article. So once you have all of that information, you can go ahead and put together your citation. If you look on page 583 of your textbook, there is a document map that shows you how you take that information and turn it into a citation. There are a couple of those, and I strongly encourage you to look at them, but I just want to focus on the journal article accessed through a database one. Okay, so you've got the last name of your author and the first name, which we got from there. You have the title of the source, specifically the journal article title. For this one, the capitalization was already correct, but if you get a specific article, the capitalization might look weird. Make sure you just apply standard capitalization rules to it, okay? Notice that that is in quotation marks. Then we have the name of the journal. This wasn't in italics here, but you will need to apply italics to it here. And then you include the rest of the publication information. That will vary by journal, but generally, anything that's available, you want to include it, and you want to include it in this order. Stick as closely as possible to the punctuation that they used here, okay? You'll then want to add those page numbers, which are listed here, period. Once you've got all that other publication information, you want to add the electronic piece. So this came from EBSCOhost, like most of your sources will as well. Notice that this is italicized. Then you'll add the comma, and then you'll add that DOI. This looks a little bit different from the number that you had here. Let me show you something. For this one, if you click on here, or let your cursor just kind of float over there, if you look on the bottom, it'll have the HTTPS, ://. So just use that as the address, the thing that's along the bottom, or you can just click on that, and it will take you to that information, okay? The other tool that you might want to use to help you with your citations, just about everything that's here has the little cite button out to the side. And so if you click on that and you scroll down, you'll see that it has MLA 9th edition. And a lot of the information that you need will already be there. I will caution you, though, that sometimes there'll be some little errors there. This one happens to be a really good one, so this is a correct citation. But do go back through and make sure the format that you have here matches what's in your book or what's at Purdue OWL or MLAblogstyle.org, okay? So those are just a couple of pointers that will help you complete this annotated bibliography assignment. The other thing I want you to do is to take a look at the short writing assignment that you just completed. I've included some very specific feedback on the kinds of things you should be including in your annotations, and there's also detailed feedback on any MLA citation issues that I saw in the citations, okay? If you haven't completed that, you might not be able to see the annotated bibliography, so please do go ahead and make sure you turn in short writing assignment 3 so you can continue to make progress and get that feedback, okay? So your annotated bibliography assignment is due on Monday. The infographic is not due on Monday. That'll come a little bit later. As always, if you have any questions, please do reach out to me. I'll be glad to respond to you and, just help you keep moving forward. All right? Have a good day, and I hope to see your work on Monday.